And on to our big focus story. The Supreme Court, remember, has sought suggestion on whether an expert body should look into the issue of freebies by the political parties ahead of elections. The top court asked why the opposition parties were not in fact concerned about the issue and said that the experts from Neeti Ayog, Finance Commission, the RBI, opposition parties may need to go through pros and cons of freebies. Now, the centre meanwhile said that it agreed that it was a serious issue that the Election Commission should definitely go through as it has an adverse impact on the voters. The top court has given 7 days time for the suggestions from the stakeholders. And I have Meenakshi Bhanja joining us live on the broadcast to tell us more on this. Meenakshi, what's the latest that you are... All right, we are trying to connect with Meenakshi. Meanwhile, remember, that's the latest that we're picking up on the whole debate over freebie. Remember, the matter is still in the top court. And today, in fact, the Supreme Court took up the matter once again for hearing, where now it has gone on to seek suggestion on whether an expert body should actually look into the issue of freebies by the political parties ahead of elections. And I'm being, in fact, once again joined by my colleague Meenakshi Bhanja live on the broadcast. Meenakshi, what's the latest stand when we talk of the freebie debate that, in fact, has been waging on in the Supreme Court? Please take us through the various arguments.
Well, yes, you see, it was a crucial stand today which was articulated by the union government. This becomes very important because on an earlier occasion, the Supreme Court had sought the position of the union government. That position of the union government has come by no less than the solicitor, one of the top law officers of the government of India, telling the Supreme Court that the populist promises has an adverse effect on voters, and therefore the government feels that it is time for the Election Commission of India to have a relook and apply its mind. And the solicitor furthermore went ahead and submitted that the government would also submit its suggestions. This is a very important position as far as the government of India is concerned, because for the first time the government is telling the Supreme Court that in order to restrain this mindless distribution of freebie promises during election time, perhaps the Election Commission of India should step up its role and mull over the details of implementing and formulating some strict guidelines with greater diligence. Also, what is hugely significant is the Supreme Court is keeping the matter pending with itself. The Honorable Chief Justice of India said as to how all stakeholders who want freebies and who are opposing it, including the Reserve Bank of India, Neeti Ayog, opposition parties, they have to be involved in this process of making some constructive suggestion. So the stand of the union government has been presented to the Supreme Court today. This is Ashwini Upadhyay's PIL that we are talking about, which sought for the Supreme Court to intervene in this particular issue of distribution of freebies during election time. The Honorable Chief Justice of India clearly indicating that it has to be a more collaborative, comprehensive process, for which he wants all the stakeholders, including the Reserve Bank of India, Neeti Ayog, and principal opposition parties of India, to also pitch in and put forth their suggestions. There were a lot of instances that were cited with regards to this freebie. Prominently the Aam Aadmi Party's promise of 1,000 per month to every woman aged 18. The Shrimani Akali Dal, the SAD, also had promised 2,000 rupees each to each women to lure them to vote for their respective parties. So many instances actually that were presented to the Supreme Court. So as of now, the position that we are bringing to our viewers is the position of the union government, which says that yes, this distribution of freebies has an adverse impact on the economy. Greater time for the Election Commission to really formulate more stricter guidelines. And secondly, the Supreme Court says it will seek the position and suggestions of all principal stakeholders, including the opposition parties, the Reserve Bank of India, and Neeti Ayog on this one.
All right, Meenakshi, thank you so much for tracking all those details for us. All right, and on this very note, continuing with the discussion on the freebies, I'm being joined by Ms. Aarti Sathe, spokesperson from the BJP. Ma'am, a very, very good afternoon to you, and thank you for speaking to Mirror Now. In fact, I'm also being joined by Krishang, spokesperson from the TRS. Aarti Sathe, I want to begin here by asking you first. You know, we saw this whole debate over the freebie culture coming back into the spotlight with Prime Minister's very recent remarks on the Revadi culture, jibe at the opposition. And, you know, there are reports of, in fact, growing consensus within your party to refrain from distributing the freebies and, in fact, focus on transformational changes instead. What's leading to this very consensus in your party? What exactly is your party's stand here?
Clearly, the party stand is, as you know, what the Prime Minister has said, that this freebie culture is not something which we promote or which we would like to promote. Welfare programs are quite different from really announcing freebies. Welfare is something which is, there is so really a thin line between freebies and welfare. What one should look at and what most governments should look at, including the state governments, is how you can bring about a transformational change in the lives of common people and common man. And that is something which should be encouraged. By just saying that we will give free electricity and allow the burden of that to be really then later on be borne by taxpayers or be borne by state governments when there will be a real crisis kind of situation if we were to announce freebies in such a manner irresponsibly. I think then us to go the Sri Lanka way won't take very long. So that is why we want to rein this in. And today the Supreme Court has, in fact, asked that an expert body should be appointed, which is, I think, a right way of doing it. We will see what the stakeholders have to say in terms of what the Finance Commission has to say. I think they play an important role. But surely, well, the freebie culture is not something which we would like to encourage. Welfare schemes which are to be implemented, yes, those schemes should be implemented. That support will be given to the various state governments. But announcing freebies in an irresponsible manner is not something which we would like and which we would support.
All right, Aarti Sathe, point taken well. I urge you to stay with us. In fact, I would like to go across to Mr. Krishank here, spokesperson from the TRS party. Sir, you know, right from speaking about the free water supply to free electricity, we've seen the TRS party showering sops on its voters, and especially if I talk of the municipal elections that took place in the year 2020. What exactly is your party's take on this? You know, there's more debate, in fact, you know, right now that this is only draining the state resources. It's putting more burden on the exchequer, and in fact this can actually lead to a situation that currently the nations like Sri Lanka and Pakistan are facing. What exactly is your take on this, your party's stand, and how affordable is it?
Well, absolutely not, because we are proud to be a welfare state, because what we see is that how this benefit of assistance, financial assistance, or the business establishment which the government is helping to keep, is including those sections as a growth engine of the state. Now, for instance, we have Dalit Bandhu, which is not there in anywhere in India, where 10 lakhs of business establishment is being kept, where again the Dalit household who is the beneficiary of it does not have to repay to the government. And with those business establishments, what he is keeping, he can not only assist his family, but also that will come back to the state as a revenue. That has to be important. Not only that, what we feel today, government of India, which they are trying to evade, is their promises of, be it 15 lakh or be it their Ujjwala Yojana has failed. We have seen how 4.13 crore beneficiaries of Ujjwala Yojana have not done a refill of once also. That's what has been told in the parliament. Or even the Saubhagya Yojana, where Modi ji said that kisi ko bhi ek rupiya electricity connection ke liye pay karna nahi padega. That was also a freebie announcement. Now they have a problem with electricity being given to farmers. See, 24 hours of free electricity, qualitative electricity in Telangana, and that is why agriculture production has increased in Telangana. That has to be seen to hair salons, to Dhobi Ghats, they are economically working, and that is why we are giving limited electricity to hair salons, to barbers, free of cost, and at the same time 24-hour to agriculture. So why do you compare it as a freebie? It is not a freebie. It is an assistance of the government to these sectors where they can work and see that economically the state grows. So the point today is government of India's failures are, instead, they are trying to speak against freebie or calling it as revdi is absolutely wrong. It was Modi ji also who promised house for all. What is it called as then? If the state government is doing, yes, here Telangana government also is doing a 2 BHK. Government of India, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Now that they have, DHFL scam in it or many other scams in it, improper functioning of government of India's housing scheme, that is why probably they want to deviate from it, and that is why they are speaking against the welfare schemes. So one thing we should understand is, yes, how these are going to generate and contribute, bring people. This is what is participatory democracy, where you have the marginalized, the deprived sections also to do some business, to become entrepreneurs and to contribute in the state's development. You cannot see it as a freebie at all. No.
All right, Aarti Sathe, your response to that, since your party has a very clear stand on this quote-unquote revdi culture, your response to Mr. Krishank from TRS.
I don't think I won't say opposing, but by not encouraging the freebie culture, we are trying to deviate from the so-called failures of the central government. There has been no failure on the part of the central government. There may have been some figures which may have come about the Ujjwala Yojana, but that does not mean that it has been a complete failure. Again, it is a subsidized scheme. Here, by really announcing freebies, what you're doing is you are taking a burden. You are burdening the state exchequer without really even seeing what the financial position is. And you have done this as a part of your manifesto. What you have really done by doing this freebie culture is you are luring voters to vote for you in elections. And that is what we are against. Do not lure them. Give them a welfare scheme. It's much needed. The marginalized sections of the society need welfare schemes. The governments have to step up for that. But to lure the electorate is something which is wrong. And to put it up in your party manifesto just to lure the voters by not checking the financial position. Giving subsidized schemes is something which is a different ballgame altogether. So we are not here trying to, trying to cover up something in the guise of saying that the freebies which are announced by other parties are wrong. All that we are saying is that do it responsibly and do it in a welfare manner. Do not do it in a way which will cause a burden on the exchequer. And that's why today the Supreme Court has said, today there is no answer which any political party has given insofar as the burden which has been caused on the exchequer. Nobody has been able to give that figures. Let those figures come up before the Supreme Court. We are open for those suggestions. Center is open for all these things. Let all these stakeholders come up and let the consultative process take place. Without any consultative process, you come up with your own manifestos just to lure political parties. I think that culture needs to be discouraged. And that is what we are trying to say.
All right. Taking point from what Ms. Aarti Sathe in fact just said, that it's so important to distinguish between what is actually required to give out to the voters and what is actually just, a source of subsidy. Here, I would like to, in fact, shoot another question to Mr. Krishank. How do you exactly distinguish between the freebies that come in the category of a necessary subsidy? Like, speaking about Aam Aadmi Party, we've seen that, how giving free electricity has actually worked in their favor in both Delhi, Punjab, and now they're actually pitching for it in Gujarat elections as well. So how do you really make that difference between a necessary subsidy for the common man and then the other category which can be termed as freebies that can actually halt the economy?
See, we should understand that here, for instance, if you see Telangana, industries are not getting, or corporate sector is not getting free electricity. It is agriculture which is getting free electricity. So we are choosing these sectors who shouldn't be burdened, who should be helped economically, and we are choosing them and giving a free assistance. Or we have a Raitu Bandhu scheme where 5,000 rupees per acre as an investment for farming is being given. And that is why that is turning out that Telangana, which was a barren state, today is a surplus state in agricultural production. So that is working out for us. And the point is, be it health, be it education, be it electricity, these are services, responsibilities of the government. Government of India is forgetting that these are the responsibilities which we have to give to citizens, and that is why we have been voted into power. Best medical services, yes, we are building up a lot of government health infrastructure so that common people can go, so that they don't have to go to corporate hospitals and shell out money from out of their burning their pockets. They would go to government, and you cannot call this as a freebie. These are services. So first thing is, government of India has to distinguish what is a freebie, what is a responsibility. You cannot call them as are you calling pension as a freebie? Then pension is also assistance to old age pension to people, to older people, senior citizens who have been alienated by their family members, by their children. Such kind of elders, if they are getting an assistance, it is good. They can survive. You cannot disown them. So one thing is, there, yes, we would appreciate a discussion. It is, this whole gambit is in Supreme Court. It will be a sub judice issue if we talk. But what we would like to say is that how this announcement of any state government is benefiting the people. Laws of the land have to be for the people. Manifestos or promises have to be people, and how they are helping them. That is what our government of Telangana's is a priority. And today, really astonishing to see government of India immediately speaking against it. Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji calling it revdi. Bharatiya Janata Party has come into power with such kind of revdi's announcements only. Where is the Kala Dhan promise? Kala Dhan लाएंगे. आज जब आप सरकार में हो, हम पूछ रहे कितना काला धन है भाई साहब, आप बताते हैं आपके पास कोई एस्टिमेट ही नहीं है. You don't have any official figures, but that was your promise, na? You have promised that you will bring काला धन सबके अकाउंट में 15 लाख देंगे. Where is that 15 lakh? That was just a jumla, mere promise. So these what Modi ji has taught this nation or spoken to this nation, those are actually false freebies, jumlas. What we are doing, what states are doing today, you cannot see them as jumlas or freebies. Yes, these are welfare schemes, and we are proud to be a welfare state.
All right. Before I close this discussion, Aarti Sathe, your final word to that. What's your counter to those charges?
I don't think there has been any jumla done by the Modi government in the last 2 elections and several state elections. It's almost like a referendum to the fact that how Modi government has really delivered on every promise that has been made. Insofar as the black money route out is concerned, we are seeing on a daily basis that we are working non-stop on the fact that, all this black money really needs to be rooted out of the system. So there's been no jumla. The fact that we have been voted to power consistently for two terms and with thumping majority shows that if we were a jumla government, shows that only if we were luring voters by giving these revdies, like the Honorable Prime Minister pointed out, we would not really be, being voted to power back. In a big state like Uttar Pradesh, today it's transformational what is happening in Uttar Pradesh under Honorable Yogi ji. The kind of road connectivity, the kind of infrastructure that is being provided, the kind of women's safety which was never seen so far in a state like UP, which really gives the highest number of legislators back into parliament. It's been transformational. So by jumla, people are not going to get fooled. Are you trying to say that the Indian electorate is so foolish that just by giving them false promises, they are going to vote us back into power? And the voting is clear. Democracy has shown us that it is not jumla. Secondly, today what the states are even doing is that they are making such borrowings without having the ability to pay them back. In fact, RBI, I couldn't find that, that specific bar which RBI has said that states are borrowing without having the capacity to pay back because they are really indulging in these kind of freebies. All that we are saying is that do not indulge in freebies whereby the exchequer gets burdened and today you are not going to be able to deliver on your promises. That is jumla. It is not jumla to bring about welfare scheme. It is not Jumla to root out black money. It is not Jumla to bring about transformational changes in states which had never seen those changes. We are having a great network of roads today, not because we are a Jumla government. So let me tell you once again, today the matter is before the Supreme Court. It has to be a deliberative process and all stakeholders have to be consulted. But let's not encourage the freebie culture.
All right. So
I
clearly
have a
the
question to you.
debate.
Can I have a question? Can I have a question? Just a
All
straight
right, 2
question.
minutes. Yeah.
The-
I have to
the-
wind up this discussion. I'm running short on time. So yeah, quickly you can take that question.
See, now during COVID, there was a Atmanirbhar package, 20 lakh crores. In fact, government of India brought $1,000 million from World Bank and some from that Asian Infrastructure Bank of China and distributed food, grains, and so does that the Bharatiya Janata Party believes that tomorrow they will stop distributing ration for free? If they're calling it freebie, then is it a threat to rationing system? PDS, public distribution system, will they stop it? Straight question.
Situation. There were people who ran out of jobs. Do not compare COVID with a normal situation. COVID was unprecedented. In fact, what we did in COVID was something which was seen by the world. We have come out of COVID because of the entire vaccine program which the Modi
RTG,
government has.
I'm
So
asking,
the
are you stopping PDS system? Are
not
you
a question of
stopping the
stopping.
ration system?
It's not about a question of stopping
If
the
you are
PDS
against
system.
freebie, are you opposing the
Why
ration
should you
system?
be
Are
for
you
freebie? Why should you be for freebie? Forget we being against freebie. My question is, why should you be for freebie without even checking whether what that freebie is costing to the nation? Forget my being against or why should one even be for? There is no
All
argument.
right. I am
75 years
extremely